Best of R / Entitled Parents episode 74. Apple G for bad English if you get the reference. However, I'm Italian. Cast of this wonderful story entitled Mommy K, the adorable daughter of Karen Me, of course, the goldfish. A little of a backstory. So, it was my birthday, and I was turning 16. I organized a little party with few people, friends from school. The fun begins. One of my friends shows up and his mother and his sister too. The sister wasn't invited. She's an entitled little shit. I don't care too much, but my mother gives me a disgusted look, as she knows the behavior of the EK. I go upstairs in my room, which is pretty big, and we start to play on my computer. At some point EK shows up and sits on my couch, to play with her phone. She was 8. She then gets bored and wanders around in my room and starts touching everything. I've had, since I was a kid, a bench in my room where I put all the things that were inside the almost 50 kits of the Little Chemist. It was, for my friends and relatives, a gift that was sure I would appreciate. I was starting to get nervous, because I was afraid she would touch the chemicals that were stored there. I then get distracted by something on the screen. I suddenly hear a rip as I turn towards the source of the sound. I hear EK crying and running downstairs. I get up and see that little cumpstin has somehow found a cutter and then, obviously, proceeded to rip a hole in my poor couch. I hear EK calling for her mommy and then, stomping sounds coming upstairs. Oh boy. What have you done to my precious angel? Me what? What have you done to her? Me, genuinely not understanding. We were playing games and then we saw her ripping a hole in liar. Me W what? Why? EK said you all molested her, cut her with a cutter and then ripped a hole in the couch to incriminate her. I am genuinely shocked about the complexity of the story that EK managed to invent. I see, too, that EK's hand has a cut. Me mom, as I said, we didn't do it. Stop talking back to me you disgusting human being. Me excuse me. What are those satanic antivegan games you are playing? You are playing the most horrible, homophobic, antivegan and satanic game you could imagine. Slime Rancher, Google it if you don't know what it is. Me she ripped the hole in the couch. Screaming like the banshee she is liar. Then tries to reach for my computer, but we stop her hand. But she sees a phone on the table and she grabs it. Is this your phone? Please give it back to me. I am taking it as a recompensation for the terrible way you treated me. I am usually a very calm and kinda submissive person, even though I am 6'3" and pretty muscular, and I tend to lose my shit rarely. Me what? Give it back. You have no right to take it. Then grabs EK and my friend, who was cringing in an angle. He apologized a lot when I met him at school, and tries to storm out of my home. My mother, who heard everything, tries to stop her by standing in front of the door. Mom, where do you think you're going? I am leaving this house, you perverts. She then proceeds to slap my mother in the face and kicks away my cat, because he was in the middle. I completely lost my shit. I went downstairs. Give me back my phone and get out of here now. Well, if I can't have it, you cannot either. Then smashes my phone into the ground. At this point I've had enough. I push and EK out of my place and yell, me get away from here you fucking cumpstins and never come back, or we're calling the police. No, we're calling the police. Me fine. And I shut the door. After a few minutes, the doorbell rings at the door 2 policemen are standing. After explaining the situation, the officers as all of the presents their version and, soon they take away I later discovered that she accused us of violence, threatening, rape and theft. We decided to not press charges because she wasn't worth our time. Edit. It isn't much of a proof, but here's my cat https://imga.com/gallery/0j8epc. Thank you. Next. Not on mobile but format will probably suck anyway. Grammar warning. Shit spelling blah blah blah. Long time lurker. First time poster. Kinda long but this needs to be shared. Cast. Me. Massive earphones. Entitled mom. Entitled sister. P1. Policeman. P2. Other policeman. As. Awesome sister. BF. Boyfriend. Now ex-husband. TL. Doctor at the bottom. For a bit of context, this was about 4-5 years ago and at the time, so the dialogue probably won't be 100% accurate. I was about 5 months pregnant. I was 16 and living with my EM and ES. Yes, child's dad was in the picture. My mother had always been extremely entitled and considered her own issues above others, even her own children. It once took her over a week of me complaining after a sports accident to be seen by a doctor. I had a severe concussion. But that's a story for another time. On to the story. The day had started off like any other, but I was in a pretty bad mood. Pregnancy hormones are raging and I looked like a ticking time bomb to BF. He suggested coming over to my house to cuddle and watch movies. I happily agreed but told him I had to ask EM first, and we simultaneously sighed. EM has never liked BF, and at this point I had known him for 8 years. We were good friends before we decided to start dating. I go and ask her as nicely as possible if me and him could spend some time together, as I was feeling kinda stressed and needed to relax. Keep in mind, he literally lives right across the street. Me, Mom, can BF please come over and watch movies with me? I'm feeling kinda stressed out and I'd like to spend some time with him. EM, no, I've got a headache and besides, look where spending time with him got you anyways. Me, okay, but you didn't need to be rude. EM, mumbles something I couldn't make out. I call him back up and let him know it's a no-go. We're both obviously disappointed but really can't do much about it. BF suggests playing Minecraft together and I agree before hanging up and going to get on my computer. We're both huge gaming nerds and Minecraft was our little thing we did together when EM refused to let me see him. Jump forward to later on that night. I had forgotten all about EM's rude comment and was feeling pretty content. I was making my way to the bathroom when ES cuts in front of me. ES, I need to pee. Me, okay, can I go first? I really gotta go. ES, no, I was here first and you should have gone sooner if you need to go that badly. Me, grumpily fine. ES takes a whole 5 minutes, but for a pregnant chick, it felt like forever. Finally ES comes out and goes down the hall into her room. I walk in and didn't even get the chance to shut the door before EM pushes it back open. EM, I need to take a bath. Me, okay, just let me pee real quick. EM, no, get out. I need to take a bath first. Apostrophe. I contained my sigh and walked back out the door. I go back to my room and 10 minutes later, I'm dangerously close to pissing myself. I go to the bathroom door and knock. Me, Mom, I really need to pee. Can I please come in and use the bathroom? EM, audible sigh, yeah, just make it quick. I've barely just sat down before the bomb drops. I knew her just dropping it was too good to be true. For some context, I've always been a good and quiet kid. Even as a teen I never smoked, never did drugs and wasn't whoring around. A breaking condom was the cause of my pregnancy. EM, you were very disrespectful today. Me, how? EM, you know I don't like BF. Why would you ask if he could come over? You should be more respectful than that. Me, getting irritated. I've been pretty stressed out this week and I just wanted some support. He is the father of my child after all. EM, do I not support you? Do I not give you a roof over your head and food to eat? You should be thankful I'm letting you stay here in your condition. Me, biting my tongue, you know I love you but I need a different kind of support sometimes. I need some emotional support. I stand up to leave when I hear her mumble under her breath. EM, hoes don't get emotional support. I froze for a minute, trying to process what she just said. I was used to her insults by now. From a young age, 5 or 6, I was called many things including useless, pathetic, lazy, stupid and a few others. She would constantly put me down and borderline beat and degrade me. My dad was a druggie and an alcoholic, still is, and was never in the picture. Hell, I didn't even meet him until I was 8 years old. She would constantly say that I would end up just like him and that I shouldn't even try to be more than that. I was heavily depressed from the age of 10 onward and I still deal with depression now. I saw red. I just stood there for a second before sitting back down onto the closed toilet. She paid me no attention at all. I don't condone violence and thinking back I shouldn't have lost my temper, but those hormones are a bitch. I stood up and threw her bra at her while she was in the tub. She started screaming like a maniac and I started out the bathroom, visibly angry. ES comes bursting from her room and shoots past me into the bathroom. Here's a little visual for you guys. I lived in a 2-story apartment with a bathroom door just to the side of the staircase but on the opposite wall. It's 2 sets of stairs with a landing in the middle and railings on the sides of the stairs. My mom's room was directly to the right of the stairs and mine and ES's bedrooms were down a short hallway. I start towards the stairs as I was intent on storming out of the house. All of a sudden, I feel ES kick me very hard in the back between my shoulder blades. I quickly grabbed onto the rail with my right hand and catch myself with the other and ended up stumbling down 1 or 2 of the top steps. Me, what the fuck is wrong with you? I'm pregnant, you dumbass. ES, I'm calling the police. Me, I threw a bra at her. Why the fuck would you call the police? ES then ignored me as she pulled out her phone and dialed 911. She went back into the bathroom and shut the door. I head downstairs and go outside to cool off on the front porch. Sure enough, not 5 minutes later 2 police cars pull up and EM and ES walk outside. P1, I got a call about a domestic assault. EM points at me sitting down. She attacked me while I was in the bathtub. Me, not really sir, she insulted me and I threw her bra at her. I never laid a hand on her. P1 takes a good minute to look at me. I guess he noticed my belly and seen that I had been crying. I wasn't showing a lot but it was still noticeable. He motions for P2 to come over and I walk off to the side with him and I tell him everything that happened, including earlier today. P2 walks me back over to them. P2, to ES mom, is it true you tried to kick her down the stairs and are fully aware that she is pregnant? ES, she's lying. She's the violent one. She attacked mom. P1, do you have any proof of ES doing this? I turn around and lift up my long hair. Lo and behold, there is a partially visible shoe print on my back. P1 asks if he can look and I consent to him pulling down the collar of my t-shirt, only for them to see a sizable bruise starting to form. P1 asks if ES can explain this but she clams up completely and EM acts like there is nothing there. P1 leads me off towards one of the cars while P2 stands with them. P1, I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have you call someone to come and pick you up for the night. I need to ask you, would you like to press charges against ES? Thinking back now, I wish I had. I told him doing that would only make my home life worse than it is now. He said that since I was 16, I should look into emancipation. I denied an ambulance ride, stating that I would get checked out in the morning. ES was told that no charges would be pressed against her for assault of a pregnant woman. I still watched the color drain from her face regardless. Meanwhile, I called us and filled her in on what happened. She got there almost as quick as the cops did and we had a long chat on the ride to her house. EM is still entitled but so much less than she used to be. When I turned 18, I verbally tore her a new one and with no danger of getting kicked out, as I then lived with BF, who I was married to at the time. ES is no longer entitled and we get along great. Realizing she almost went to jail, she did a complete 180 on life and is now a healthy, responsible and unentitled adult. Edit. Thanks for the support, guys. I actually have more stories to share in the future. TL. Doctor, I throw and bra at my EM and ES tries to kick me down the stairs. Claims assault only to be shown the massive bruise she left on her pregnant sister. P1 and P2 send me off for my safety and ES grows into her common sense. Thank you. Next. My brother and his psycho wife asked me the other day to babysit their children and I said number. I work a 9-to-5 job and do extracurricular stuff afterwards that's more important. To which his psycho wife said, you're going to babysit your nephew and nieces because we're on our way to your place right now and you're just gonna have to fucking deal with it. Which I then replied, go ahead and try, and promptly got in my car and left my place of residence and did not come back until later. I already had things to do. The next morning my neighbor next door said that a woman was at my door with her baby and 2 little girls for an hour and a half knocking on the doors and windows just trying to get in. To which I called my brother and was absolutely livid and told him to not let his wife do that shit. Turns out they wanted me to watch the kids so they could go bar hopping until 2 AM and not have me return their children until 10 AM. I've told him and my family I'm child free. Everyone seems to leave me alone about it except for this BTCH. She has legit called me irresponsible and a man-child for not wanting to have kids when I first told my family about it. Thank you. Next. This isn't a long story, just a run-in I had last night. Apologies for any grammar mistakes. I'm on mobile and autocorrect exists. So every Thursday in my city, they have a Super Smash Bros tournament at a local bar. I tend to make it to every single one and hang out, playing my favorite fans with some friends I'd made there. So yesterday, it was packed. One side of the bar had been reserved for a party, so everyone had to go on the other side. There was only one other table left, and here's the thing. This EP decided her child could use the last table on the unreserved side so that her kid could use Legos there. This kid wasn't eating food, and there was more than plenty of space at the mom's table for her to use those plastic blocks. So, I politely walk up the mother and say these exact words. "Excuse me, is she eating there? It's fine if she is, I just want to check because there are no more open tables." I didn't intend for this to be rude, and I said it in the nicest way possible just in case it may have not even been her kid, which was totally possible considering, again, her kid should have just been playing with Legos at her mom's table where there was more than enough space. This mom decides she is entitled to two of the last tables in the entire bar and explodes on me, saying stuff like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Do you get priority over my child? You should not come up to a mother and say that. You're incredibly rude." If I had said this in a rude tone, or maybe if there were a bunch of open tables, I could understand this, but this parent taking up the last two tables in the entire bar for her kid, who could have been playing at the mom's table, made me so uncomfortable as she was attempting to lecture me. TL. Dr. EM decided her kid gets the last table at a packed bar to play with Legos even though there was plenty of room at the EM's table to do so. When I politely asked for the table, she decided to get angry and raise her voice at me. Thank you. Next. So, I'm a cashier at a popular supermarket, and I don't normally get a lot of dumb people. Most people blame us cashiers if the price they saw in the paper didn't match what was rung up. So here's the cast. Me, EP entitled parent, SM store manager, CS customer service. So this EP bought a thing of strawberries and came up $3.99 and not $2.99. So here's how the conversation went. EP, those strawberries are supposed to be $2.99 and not $3.99 according the sign in front. Me, sees my manager behind me working in cashier. This lady says these strawberries are $2.99 and not $3.99. I'm not allowed to change price without manager's approval. SM, they are $2.99. Me, turns around fixing the price, while I'm checking the price. EP, since you made a mistake, they should be free, right? Me, I don't know, I'm recently new and never told about free stuff. I ring up her order. EP, what is that $2.99 at the bottom? Me, it's your adjusted price for the strawberries. Thank you. Next. This reminded me why I don't like going out in public very often anymore. Me, the shocked arsehole. W, sexy, hot, incredibly wonderful woman known as my wife EP, entitled parent ec, P-pants. So my wife is pregnant and has been at the house more than often lately. I've been trying to be a good husband and get her out because I know that she likes things like that. We have 2 dogs, so I decided, hey, why not go to the dog park? Yep, mistake. So we went and it was a great time, but there was this little 5-year-old, could be older, kid was socially there but little, and he kept trying to pet my dog. My dog doesn't like new people, so he was his typical I'm going to hide and hopefully you go away self. The kid finally got bored of trying to get him to come to him and went to play elsewhere. My wife and I watched the dogs play. It was cute. Maybe about 15 minutes later we leave the dog park and we are heading back to the car and I hear the white one. The one with 4 doors, which is my car. The parking lot was empty, so I jogged a bit ahead to see what was happening. This mom was instructing her kid on which car to pee on. There this kid was, standing in front of the end with the hood and letting his golden shower go. When I ran up to the mom who was holding back hella laughter. Me, is there an issue I can help you with? She got really shocked that I was there and she shook her head vigorously, trying to keep my attention away from the child that I've very clearly already seen peeing on my car, and shook her head. No, My son just had to pee, so we are peeing really quick. Me, on my car. The woman rolled her eyes and, I kid you not, stomped her foot. You really hurt his feelings by not letting him play with your dog. So I helped him get you back. I tried explaining to her that my dog was abused and so he has a lot of anxiety, but she wouldn't hear that. She told me that if we had trained him better he'd have been a good dog instead of a little shit, and let her son play with him. At this point my wife, who's pregnant BTW, gets here and sees the kid pulling up his pants and me and the lady arguing. Ek runs over and basically asks her if she saw him do it, and he looked at me and stuck his tongue out, but then reached down to try and touch my dog, who actively avoided his smug butt. I'm looking at them in awe with half the mind to call the police, but I just rolled my eyes and bent down to pick my dog up and walk him to the car to go home. This lady followed me. After all that, you're still not going to let him touch your dog? Your child is going to be a piece of work. My wife, who bless her, was a little hormonal this day, looked at the woman and cocked her head to the side, and I will never forget how quickly she snapped. She's normally very even-tempered. Actually, our child will understand boundaries and know that the world doesn't revolve around them. If someone tells them no, we won't have them do something petty like pee on their car. I hope you have a fantastic day. She opened up the car, and before she closed the door she popped her head out again. Also, you're welcome from saving your kid from potentially getting bitten. Maybe next time we should just let it all happen? She waited for a response that never came. Cool, we got into the car and I was hella attracted to my new sassy wife and went home. That's my latest story. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you. Next. Okay, for some background, I've recently moved into my grandparents within the past year due to my mom's incompetence. Since then it feels like I'm wedging their marriage apart. Roughly every week my grandparents get into a heated argument. Screaming, crying, destroying things, etc. It puts me on edge because I come from a physically abusive household and all the bangs and screams scare the crap out of me. Tonight I was asking my grandmother about getting a pet parrot. I had my own cockatoo, but my mother uses him to emotionally manipulate me, so I've given up on him. I've tried everything, but she doesn't care. Anyway, I asked her and apparently I wasn't making enough eye contact. I have social issues and severely lack in that field. I was sitting in a chair weirdly and looking straight, which happens to be in my grandfather's area. We weren't making eye contact. Now, I didn't think anything of it and a few hours pass and she sits down. Grandmother, turn off the TV, I have something I need to ask the both of ya. Manner accent. Grandfather turns off the TV and we listen. She points to us and says, why were you two making eye contact and sending secret looks and shit? We were shocked into silence. What? Grandmother, what do you mean what? You weren't making eye contact and you were looking at him, talking behind my back. Me, I wasn't. Grandmother, yes you were. I was sitting right next to you and you were barely looking at me. Me, so I have to make eye contact when I talk to you all the time? Grandmother, when you're talking to me, yes. I try to explain to her that I was sitting in the chair weirdly and the most comfortable position is to look at the closet. She didn't buy it. My grandparents start yelling and I leave because I can't handle aggressive confrontation. Before I leave I get up and say that this is stupid. We aren't plotting against you. We have nothing against you. You're being irrational and we aren't doing that. This has been the same argument since I moved in. I'm 17 and I bonded to my grandfather because we have a very similar childhood. My grandmother expected me to be this little girl who needed mommy. I haven't needed mommy since I was 8. She's pissed because I'm not dependent on her. I'm not comfortable around her and she doesn't understand depression or anxiety truly. And then she throws a fit and that sets me off even more. I'm done with her attitude. Every day she comes home and makes snarky comments then pretends to laugh it off. Today's was because the house lights weren't on when she walked into the house. I'm done. I didn't have good choice words, but I'm sick of her constantly starting shit and claiming that we're plotting against her. She says she doesn't feel like family, and I don't know how to answer that. I've never had a family, I don't know what it's like, but it's not this. I've had multiple people tell her this, and she still won't accept it. We have to walk on eggshells around her. If she walks into the room and my grandfather and I happen to not be talking, she claims that we're talking about her. Like, no, sorry that you feel this way, but you're not our topic 24/7. And when she hits the topic, I'm trying to ask her husband how to get along with her. Thanks for reading. I have way crazier stories, but this is what's bugging me now.